bought this light tower generator a couple years ago for the sole purpose. Let's open this up. Hope there's no animals in here. I don't see any. For the sole purpose of this little 3-cylinder Kubota diesel. Because I knew at some point in time I would get a project where I needed that little engine. And I think this little wheel loader here is the perfect candidate for that. I've got to figure out how to get this engine out of here and then go from there. So I'm sure the generator's bad on this is what's wrong with it. Maybe it could be fixed if somebody really knew something about them, but I don't. I messed with the capacitors or something a little bit, but I never could get to make any power. So, you know, I just wanted the engine really. But it does still have a really nice set of lights and a tower. So what I'm kind of thinking is I have a little air-cooled gas generator. I'm kind of thinking about pulling this out and putting that in here and hooking it up. That way I could still run the lights off of this. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But yeah, this thing did run great. I guess I should hook a battery up to it though and make sure it does still run. Okay, we'll install a battery so we can make sure this thing still runs. Let's see, what do y'all want to bet this thing just fires right up? Let's see. Oh. I bet it's just going to start right up. Looky there. If I remember right, none of this works. And that's why I bought it. That thing sounds good too. That's some crap in that fan belt, but now I wonder, someone told me if you went to use these on something else, you had to get a different injector pump because these couldn't be throttled. Let me loosen up them screws and see if we can adjust the throttle. I'm talking about, they got these set screws here, I'm guessing to set the hertz or whatever for the generator. Let's see if we can just loosen that up. Yeah. Now, I don't know which way is which as far as throttle goes, but let me start it up and see what it does. Yeah, I thought you could adjust that. Smoke? Yeah, I think that'll work great for what we're doing. So this should be really easy to take out. It looks like I can just loosen up a couple bolts. Looks like one on each side for the engine, and then probably one on each side for the generator, and we'll pull that whole unit out as one. And the radiator and everything's attached, so it'll come with the motor. And looks like we got this wiring harness. However, it unclips. That should be for the motor. We got a fuel line. And I gotta get this top cover out of the way. So I gotta get this light mast up in the air. And is this cable... I thought this cable was broke. It's attached. Let's see if we can get the light mast up. Oh, it don't hold itself? Okay, I can see that being a problem. You know, I thought, for some reason, I just thought that cable was broke. I'd never lifted that up in the air. That'll work. That was really easy. We're ready now to set this engine out. So it looks like we got a couple hook points on the motor and a hook point on here. So I'm just going to throw one here and one there. Should be able to pick this thing right up. I'll have to pick it up and kind of move it this way a little bit where that muffler's sticking out the back. Other than that, everything's loose, unhooked, ready to roll. So that was super easy. So let's get this thing out. Well, that went about as smooth as sand. We shortened up the tailpipe, and I forgot to unhook the dang coolant reservoir bottle. It's alright. Got it out now. Pull this generator head off. I'm curious what connects those two together. It looks like just a shaft. So let's pop this off, see what that does. Come apart now. Should. Well, I kind of thought I was supposed to take them bolts out, but anyways. Ooh, man, pretty heavy. This is probably going to upset some people. So that's how that goes together. Oh, I bent the dang plate that's mounted to. Okay, so I open up this panel here to get my little switches, basically the other end of the harness for the engine. It should all be pretty much separated. Let's see, that goes to ground there. That should just come out. Alright, anyway, so I'll pull that out, take those out. Okay, here's the engine side of that harness. Key switch, primer button. I think that's like a charge warning light. Relay, your main plug. These two are grounds, and the hour meter. This does have 7,000 hours on it, but I don't know. I've seen these things with over 20, so. Box back together, and I left it open. I think I'm going to hook up that little generator to this and see if it will work. Okay, I'm wanting to see if any of these lights work. I accidentally ripped out two of these wires going to the ballasts. So, if they do, only two of them will. But essentially, this was a 240 volt generator. So coming off of it, you have four wires. Your green's your ground, white is your neutral, red and black are your two hot leads. So what I'm going to do is just wire this up to a plug it in the house, and see if anything turns on. So we are just using three of these. We're going to need the two hots and the neutral. Take my plug coming from the house. I don't even have any wire nuts, fortunately. So I'm going to have to tape these together. I'm not saying try this at home. If you don't feel comfortable, then don't do it. Okay, I'm going to plug this cable in and tell me if something catches on fire. So before a breaker, you probably do it. Okay, it's hot. hear the ballast making noise. Hey, one of them works. There should be another one kick on here in a second. I bet the other two probably work too. That motor flung over and ripped all the wires out of them, so I'll have to rewire them. But if these work, I'll put that little generator in here so that way I can actually use this when we need some light. Even if it'll just run 1 or 2 lights. Still super convenient. So I'm gonna let these warm up. Alright, since we got this engine out yesterday, I'm wanting to just set it in here and test fit this. And I figure we're gonna need to fabricate up some engine mounts anyways. So might as well get that done before I find a hydraulic pump. I also found out I'm missing the valve that actuates the drive. Apparently it's hand operated on this, which is different, but yeah, so we might have to take this rollover protection off in this bar here. I'm not 100% sure, so we will just lift it up and see if it fits or not. Way to keep this from spinning. So I can pull up just a smidge. and get this fitting off of here without breaking it. Actually easier than I thought it was going to be. Hang on, let me get a little strap. Okay, that should help hold it in place. Just let it down in there. Alright, well, we've got it almost all the way in. So now the engine mount's off of here, hitting this cross member, so I'm going to unbolt that so it's out of our way. See if we can get it situated about where we want it and see what it looks like. Alright, I got it pretty close to actually where I want it. I need to move it over that way a little bit more and level it up, but I mean, that thing fits down in there, and I mean it's tight, but it does fit about perfect. And then back here, exhaust comes out here. It's just tilted, but that radiator lines up good. Actually, the cap lines up with this hole I think somebody torch cut. Yeah, got plenty of room over here. Look at that, the fuel tank comes out right where the filter is. And these mounts down here, them other mounts I'll have to make will come straight down and hook onto that plate. Then I'll have to bring something from right here down to here. And underneath, we will have to make a skid plate or something. That oil pan's pretty vulnerable right there, but move this pipe fitting. Yeah, but I mean, this thing fits in here really nice. Almost like it was daggone made for it. I mean, look, I bet these battery cables even reach the battery. There's negative. And there's positive's a little short. I have to get a reverse polarity battery, because that one will reach over there. Yeah, I mean, we don't even have to make battery cables. Sweet, I'm gonna get some boards, kind of get it shimmed up where I want it, and then we'll work on fabricating on it. Working on this wheel loader a little bit today, so I'm wanting to get this fuel tank off here so I can fab up some engine mounts, because I got the engine sitting where it's gonna go. But this actually still had like 3 or 4 gallons of gas I drained out of it, which was absolutely nasty. And the inside of this tank, see if y'all can see in there, it's pretty nasty. Yeah, you can see the level where the gas was sitting. But yeah, so she needs cleaned out pretty good. And I don't trust welding next to it with them old gas fumes. We're gonna take this tank off and at least get it out of the way and clean it out. Let's do that. Oh yeah, wasn't even bad. There's 2 more back here. Hoping I can get 2 with the impact. Yeah, I'm just gonna let this hit the ground. Oh yeah, look at all that crap. I don't know how safe shot backing that out would be. That gasoline was really old. That would be the easiest way. Yeah, I'm gonna grab the vac and try it. We'll do it outside in case it blows up. What I'm about to do here is kind of a big no-no for gasoline, but I've had them caps off for about a week, venting it out. It should be pretty diluted, I hope. We'll have to try and hit that with the pressure washer and then maybe put some rocks in it and roll it around a bunch and just try and get as much stuff out as we can. And we should be in pretty good shape. So, get this moved out of the way and start working. Pretty sure I left off on this, setting this engine in here. Since then, I went ahead and fabbed up some mounts, bolted that down, I welded that piece in, mounted that back there. See if y'all can see, maybe. But I cut around that oil pan so that fits nice. So that engine is permanently mounted. And that thing is a pain to get in and out of there with this piece here. So I'm glad that's in there. So I ordered a hydraulic pump that I hope is going to be the right volume and stuff, but we'll just have to wait and see. One thing I want to address is this tire and the tire on that corner will not hold air. They just leak down instantly. That one back there has a tube in it. This one up here, it went flat, but it held air for a couple of weeks, so I think we can get away with just putting some slime in that one. These two, I bought 2 tubes for it, so I'm going to put tubes in these tires. Now, they are pretty rough. You say, well, why don't you put new tires on it? Well, these tires are like $200 and some a piece, and the tubes are like $20, so I'm going to get some tubes in it for now. Get a spy, at least get it sitting on 4 aired up tires would be nice. So, I'm going to pop this wheel off and see if we can get a tube in it. Let's fire up the tire bead breaker. this here. Alright, that's off. Being that this rim's all rusty, I'm going to hit it with the wire brush. Hopefully keep it from tearing up that new tube. So I got to find some way to hold this thing up. I really need to take that whole rim out. Okay. Alright, that's out. Alright, tube's in. Now we just gotta be real careful not to poke a hole in that tube. It's the only thing I hate about mountain tires with tubes in it. Just like that. Ain't nothing to it. Make sure that's tight. Oh yeah, that thing's gotta go way up. I don't know if that jack will go high enough. One last thing I want to do, this is that last tire, and it held air for a couple weeks, so I'm not going to put a tube in it. What we're going to do is just put some slime in it and hope that that solves our problem. So put slime, I'm sure y'all know, but to put slime in the tire, you gotta pull out the valve core. Then you just take your thing of slime. Oh, that ain't good. And you just put as many pumps as you would like. This is a pretty big tire, so I'm going to put quite a bit in it. And you don't have to take it off to do that. The reason I took this off is because that slime needs to roll around to seal up any little leaks. And where I can't drive that, I'm just going to roll it around by hand. And some older tractor tires and stuff that's either don't want to put a tube in or just trying to get by. Alright, let's air it up. Even though it don't seem like much, we did accomplish getting all 4 tires aired up. That is something. So then if I need to move it, it'll be a lot easier to drag around. I'm hoping though, when it leaves from this spot right here, it drives itself. Yeah, I ordered a pump, and we'll have to make a mount, have this turned down and adapt it, probably like a Lovejoy coupler or something, and go from there. I'm going to need a bunch of hydraulic fittings and stuff. I got to get a valve for the drive motors, so I have to figure that out. I think tomorrow we'll come back and work on this fuel tank I have sitting over here past all this junk. Work on this fuel tank. I think I showed y'all, but it's really rusty in there. Man, this thing's been sitting out in the open for several weeks, and I can still smell the gas odor coming out of that. I'm trying to see how bad that, man, that pipe's rusted bad that feeds the fuel. I hope it's still usable. And this fuel gauge, it's junk, but we're going to use the old Diesel Creek method, put some rocks in it, we'll strap this to the tractor and roll it around, hopefully get all that knocked loose. Well, I guess I'm going to see if I can clean this fuel tank out a little bit. So my method of choice here, just take some of these gravels, put down in here. Might be fun getting all these back out, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. That should be, well, do another handful. That should be plenty there. And then my weapon of choice is we're going to strap it to the tractor tire and just go drive around. Alright, first, this fuel gauge here is no longer with us, so let's cut this off up here. This whole piece don't need to be hanging down in there. Alright, that's the piece we need. I can't believe, I mean, this thing has sat out in the open for weeks. It still has that dang gas smell coming out of it. Kind of figured it would all evaporate off by now, but I guess not. And I would, if this had any other fluid in it besides gasoline, like if it had diesel fuel or hydraulic oil or something, we would just cut it open, clean it out with a grinder, and be done with it. But because it had gasoline in it, there really is no safe way to cut open a gas tank. I'm sure people will go crazy in the comments of methods you can use, but I have a rule: I don't cut or weld on gas tanks. Like I said, any other fuel or oil, I could care less. It won't explode. And the gas that came out of here was still flammable, so it wasn't very flammable, but it was flammable to some extent. And if you want to cut open gas tanks and weld on them, by all means, knock yourself out, but I ain't doing it. I'm just putting a couple screws in this. Oh, this one's broken. Oh, this fuel tank ain't white. This thing, oh, it won't fit inside of the rim. See if I can get y'all some light. Y'all can see in there. I mean, it cleaned it up some. I said it definitely looks a little better. I might see if there's maybe some kind of acid or something I can dump in here and heat this stuff up. We all probably can't see it maybe in this hole. But that pickup tube there in the back. I'm hoping it's not rusted through because it comes out up here. It runs down, so I'm hoping that's not rusted through. It does look like maybe some 1/4 inch just pipe. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be alright. Now I gotta try and get all these rocks out of here. That'll be fun. I'm done playing games with this fuel tank. I got some muriatic acid. And this, I bought some other stuff at Lowe's. This I got from Rural King. It's a lot cheaper. But this, the stuff I got from Lowe's said something about being like safer or something. Usually stuff that's like safer, more environmentally friendly than the real deal. Usually it don't work as good. So I found this. It doesn't say anything about safe. So be careful messing with this stuff. This stuff's pretty aggressive. As far as we're outside away from everything. So shouldn't have to deal with any worry about the fumes so much. Oh yeah, I can already smell that stuff. So I'm just going to put the whole gallon in here and periodically throughout the day roll this tank on different sides, so it's supposed to work pretty quick as far as fast acting. So I'm going to do that. And of course I spilled some. Let me find something to wipe that up. Okay, I'm going to try and lean it over on its side because that pickup tube there is clogged up. I couldn't blow it out. That's kind of what I'm after. Hopefully this doesn't spill out. Okay, good. Well, we sit there a few hours throughout the day. I'll rotate around, then we'll check back later. Alright, it's been 24 hours. I periodically throughout the day rolled this thing on different sides. So I'm going to try and dump this out without spilling it. I'm going to set some wood here so if I do spill it, it catches wood. It'd be easier if this tank was a lot lighter. Oh, hang on. Put on these glasses just in case. I don't know how you're supposed to dispose of this stuff. I would assume you can just dilute it with water or something. There's a way to neutralize it. But I'm just going to put it back in this jug. I'm going to fill this thing up with water and clean it out, and then we'll come back. Fill this thing up with water, now let's see what comes out of it. show y'all. It's way cleaner than it was, but it's still right there at the bottom's got all that crap in there. And that pickup tube right at the bottom. I was kind of worried to leave it in there too long. I was worried about it eating a hole in that because it ate a hole in this vent. But maybe I can get it kind of angled more towards the bottom. I got some more of that acid. I'm gonna try it again. Then again, that used stuff might have used up all it had. As far as I don't know the chemical properties of it, but I know some things, like once it gets so dirty it quits working. That might have been the case. I don't know. This safer, lower fume stuff. That's all I got. I'm going to try it because I'm still not happy with the bottom of that. Making noises. And I spilled some on the top there. I need to take care of that. Here's where we're at with this fuel tank. So this thing has had 4 days of acid bath, and I've switched out the acid every day. And here it is. I just cleaned it out with water, and it has got pretty clean, but at the bottom you can still see that crap in there that it will not dissolve. And that pickup tube right there in the corner, I can't get any air through. I was getting air through it, but now I can't. So I think there's really no way around it. We're going to have to cut the tank open. But I believe since it's had the acid treatment and I flushed it out with water 3 times and I'm going to fill it up with water, we should be safe to cut that open. I think. So let's get to doing that. Right, got this thing filling up with water. I'm going to go ahead and just draw me out a square I want to cut. Remember how at the beginning of this video I said I wasn't going to cut a hole in this tank? Boy, have things changed. If that pickup tube wasn't clogged up, honestly, I'd probably try and use it, but being that that pickup tube's clogged up, good. We didn't explode, so that's good. Now I reckon we're gonna try out the floor drain. Let me move this thing closer to the drain. There we go, now we can actually see what we're working with. Here's this little pickup tube. It just threads in, looks like a little piece of like maybe 1/4 inch pipe. So I can probably just replace it, or we might be able to clean it up. So let's get to cleaning. Give y'all an idea of what's coming out of here. I think this is just all old varnished gas, because this thing did have like 3 or 4 gallons of really old gas in it. And probably whatever it is left over from that gas, that acid, don't have the chemical structure to eat it or whatever. Because I mean, as far as rust goes, this tank's really clean. It's just all this crap. I mean, look at that. That's a whole lot of clogged fuel filters. I can tell you that. But to get this stuff loosened up, I used that big propane torch. Got it warm. Now this stuff actually is coming out of here. Look at all that. I'm glad I didn't just try to, because I thought about just trying to get this tube freed up and sending it, but I'm glad I didn't. Well, I'm going to keep doing this. We'll come back when this thing's clean. Okay, after a couple of hours of digging stuff out, we have got this tank looking good. That little surface rust you see there, that's just flash rust where it had water in here and it's bare metal. But I mean, we got this thing clean. I got that tube freed up. I wanted to replace that, but it's actually welded there at the bottom. And I got everything cleaned out of it, so I'm just going to call it good. But that old varnished gas, the only thing I really found that would really clean it up good is brake parts cleaner. It'd dissolve that up pretty good, but I'm happy with that. That's pretty clean. So we shouldn't have any. There's a little bit of gunk right there. I might try and wipe that up real quick, but we're ready to weld this top back on. I don't know where my actual weld magnet went. I'm hoping I can use this little dish to hold this thing up here. If I can't, I don't know how I'm actually going to. I think that went this way. Or, yeah, that ain't gonna work. What I'm gonna have to do is hold up, tack it, then bend it down where it's supposed to be. Let's see how this is gonna work. if I got a hammer. Let me tack this again. See if I can hold this thing down in place here. Alright, now we just weld her up. Right, went ahead and ground this down. I wasn't even worried about it, but where that other tank sits on top of here, I didn't want that weld sticking up above it. So yeah, that turned out pretty good. Well, we'll come back tomorrow and see if we can put this thing back in. Maybe even put some fuel in it. If we can shoot some primer on this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and put these fuel caps back on here. Pretty sure it's these screws. Yeah. Primer's about as dry as it's going to get. Might be wondering why that's black. Reason being is that's under that fuel tank. It won't be seen. Another reason is I'm not going to paint this machine. I like the patina that's on it. I'm not going to paint it. So, you know, if it was like painting this whole fuel tank, getting it to match that same color and patina would pretty much be impossible. So I'm just going to paint spots with bare metal. And we'll call it good. And I'm sure someone's going to wonder about coating the inside of this fuel tank. I wasn't worried about that, being that it's going to have diesel fuel in it. Lots of equipment, especially older stuff, is uncoated. So if I have problems with it in 20 years, we'll deal with that then. But for now, I'm not coating that. Now, gasoline, I can see putting a coating in there. But, yeah. And this hole right here in this tank, it had a vent hose coming off of it. But this fuel cap is vented, so I don't really see a point in that. Maybe if you needed a return line going in, that might be something. But anyways, I'm just going to put a plug I bought in here. This. I know that's the right size. There it goes. How are we gonna get this up here? Be a lot easier if this thing wasn't so dang heavy. That's it right there. Alright, we got it. Now, do what? Oh, that's the wrong hole. You gotta be kidding me. Right, after an unnecessary amount of work to clean a fuel tank, we now have a clean fuel tank. I guess I can go get the fuel pump and go ahead and hook that up, put some fuel in this, that way it don't start rusting back on us. Here's what they had coming off of this fuel tank. They had this hose, this copper thing, and then this clamped on there. I don't know why it's that hard. Like, just spend a couple dollars, buy the right fitting. Like this, and it goes straight to a barb. Hopefully we make it the rest of the way around. I mean, I'm probably just hang it right there, I would say. Just don't want to put this in. Almost do, but nah. Right there would be a good spot. It had this plastic strainer. It's not a filter, it's just a screen inline. So probably need to put that in there or something. Probably right in about here. this I taped up so would nothing get in here. Now that we got the fuel system all completed, let's dump some fuel in here, keep this tank from getting all rusty on us again. That was 5 gallons. What this thing must be like a 10-gallon tank. Okay, well, I guess this is the end of this video for part 1. I feel that we got quite a bit accomplished. We got all these tires aired up. That one's still holding there after we put slime in it 2 weeks ago, I think. Got the engine, it's mounted, and the fuel system is taken care of. So I got a hydraulic pump and I got a valve, and the whole next video will be pretty much on hydraulics. I'm hoping in the next video we get to drive this thing, but I guess y'all just have to stick around and see how that goes. Anyways, y'all have a good day, and we'll see you in the next one.